um, looking back at yourself reminds me of this time mirror where you can actually send the wave of time back in on itself. And I think these kind of exercises of reflection are a way of bringing that time wave, that that feeling that we are just going forward, bringing that back and kind of curving that arc. So I like what you did with your poem in that essence.
Yes, thank you. And I've created it into a Mad Lib for those
A
back in the
Mad
day
Lib.
who did Mad Libs. Yes. So this
I know
prompt
Mad
is
Libs. Yeah.
created like a Mad Lib, except we're not just saying, hey, your name, adjective, adverb, and everything, and then filling in the
Mm,
box. It's literally here it is for you to fill in and see the content that it'll go into. And it's reflective because today I could be the child of my parents, but tomorrow I can decide I'm the child of somebody else based on how life is going. So I like how
mm,
it
hmm.
can change any given day, any given time.
I gotcha. Oh, that's neat. I like that.
Miss
Did
Alicia,
you?
did you do the right prompt and would you like to share?
I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to write to it either, but I will. I'll take it with me if you could send it to me. I did a screenshot of it too, but if you could send it to me, that would be great, and I'll work on it.
Oh, I absolutely will because it's going to be the writing prompt for next time too.
Uh, yeah, I could have got the homework out the way.
See? But it's never homework, it's just to create conversation
So, Miss
and
Rose,
to challenge.
oh, go ahead. No, finish. Go ahead, finish.
And to challenge. Did you learn anything new about me from the last time I did this?
I was gonna say I can just give a little bit of a, it's hard to do a short bio when you're 63, but I can condense it as much as possible.
Go ahead,
Okay,
please.
so I'm Pat Rossi. I am the mother of two adult children, Marissa 35, Michael 34, grandmother of four, um, Layla 9, and JJ 4 from my daughter, Milo 2, and Mari 1 from my son. Um, my mom and dad were Alma and Richard Martin. I lost them both, unfortunately. I am the oldest of three. I have a younger sister, Lisa, and a younger brother, Ricky. My brother, unfortunately, has been recently, in the past year and a half, diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Um, I am a poet. I love music. I studied violin, organ, and accordion. I sang in choirs, barbershop quartets. I retired 3 years ago. Yeah, wow. Whew. 3 years ago from Amica Life Insurance Company, but got a full time job as a teacher assistant in a private special education school. I also just recently left my job working with um, men and women in a residential recovery program as a residential advisor. I love life, no matter what it gives me. I love it. I thank God every day for giving me another day, and I ask His blessings before I go to bed and for His grace to give me another one the next day. And that's how I live day to day. That's it. That's me.
I love you.
Thank you. And I love you too, Tony Rose.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else want to introduce self? Even if it's not the poem, we're not sticklers for it.
Sure, I guess I'll go next to introduce myself. My name is Kayla Sealy, and I recently started a new job. So I work as a healthcare administrator in psychiatry at BMC. I also have two daughters, 13 and 6. I'm also in school full time, pursuing my MBA, and I recently decided I wanted to become a nurse. So I have a lot of things going on in that regard. Outside of that, I really appreciate any type of therapeutic method, such as poetry or attending sessions like these, to use as an outlet and to also gain new insights and perspectives of maybe ways of thinking or coping that I might not have thought of myself or otherwise. And I'm just excited to be here. So that's me.
Welcome and thank you. Decca, you're going to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I could do a quick intro. Um, kind of like Patty, you know, lived a few lives. So it's like, where do I start? But I'm Decker. The SM is silent. I'm the youngest of seven from um, Ken and Gloria Decker. And I like to call myself a Colorado transplant because I'm not from around these parts, but I do like it here. And I enjoy the creative community that is very active and flourishing in this area, and more spaces like this, as Kyla
Oh,
or um,
you're over it.
what's that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. As you mentioned, it's good to have these kind of spaces to get different perspectives um, from other people, and I've done a handful of jobs. Currently doing administrative work in healthcare. So thank you for wanting to be a nurse and pursue it, please. We need good nurses.
Absolutely. Alicia or Eunice, you want to introduce yourself?
I can. My name's Alicia. Um, I just moved. I'm a military brat. I just moved here 3 years ago from Tennessee for a job. I work for the federal government. I've been with them for 15 years. I transferred up here to be in a training program for as a compliance officer, and I'm currently working as a acting government information specialist or privacy officer. I'm also a spoken word artist, and I perform under the name Aura, and I'm kind of on a healing journey for myself, and I'm just taking people along with me, conquering performance anxiety and rediscovering myself and self love one stage at a time. I have four children. Two of them are here with me. I have one in Tennessee and one in Washington State. They are 22, 23, about to be 25, and 14. And I'm one of four children. My parents are both retired, double retired from the federal government and from the military in Tennessee. And that's been our home of record for as long as I can remember. And that's about it for me.
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hi.
Sunshine.
So, my name is Eunice. I am a 40-year-old African American slash Haitian American woman. The way I could describe myself, well, first, of course, a little bit about me. I grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I I would say I'm a multifaceted person. I sometimes I describe myself as an onion, because the onion has many layers. But
Okay.
what I would say about myself is that I am an ambivert. I can be an extrovert when I am in a comfortable environment and my nervous system isn't, I could calm my nervous system. So, depending on the environment that I am in, I could be an extrovert, I can be an introvert, i.e., ambivert. I would say that I am a poet who loves Jesus. Yes, I am a Christian. However, the label Christian, it's only one descriptor A lot of people call themselves Christian, but loving Jesus is, it's not a label, you know? So when I write poems, people expect me, because I go to church, they expect me to sound a certain way or only talk about a certain subject. But like I said, I do not fit in a Christian box. Never have, never will. And that comes from growing up in church my entire life and being told that you have to fit into a box, but the box doesn't fit me. Um, so it's outside of my personality to try to put myself in a box, because I could, like I always say, I could be righteous, I could be ratchet. I guess a little bit about myself. I am the daughter of two Haitian immigrants. My mom and dad migrated to the US in the early 80s and they had five children. And so I am the second oldest. I have an older brother. And then there's me. And then the person born after me is my younger sister. Then I have my younger brother. And then the youngest of us is my youngest sister. And then I come from a slew, my extended family is massive as well. One thing I've always, um, One thing I've always made sure of, especially as I'm journeying as an entrepreneur, I've been told that, I need to find a box, find a niche. Even with writing poetry, I got to find a subject and stick to it, find your audience. For me, my audience is anybody with an ear, because that would mean what? I'm Haitian and I'm American. Not only am I an American, I'm an African American. So, what audience should I pick? Already, that's three different categories right there. You know, so being told to be in a box has never been the thing. I think one of the things when it comes to my childhood that really resonated and triggered me is the fact that I was parentified as a child just because of being a girl and being the oldest girl. But that comes with a lot of people who are from Black and Brown communities. And so, even white communities as well. But when you are the eldest in a large family, you automatically get parentified. And that is something that triggers me till this day, because I hate when I see people do it to their kids. Because your oldest child has a right to be a child. But I can all I it's one thing to get in trouble when your younger siblings do something. But I can remember distinctly getting in trouble because of things that my older brother did. And I'm like, first of all, bad enough when you blame me for what my younger siblings did, but yelling at me because your oldest child ran off with his friends without your permission. And like, I was always the verbal punching bag growing up. So poetry was always my safe place. And that's how I became a poet, because, you know, it was always escape. And I don't know if it's a fetish or not, but I always have this escapism. So whenever I write short stories, it's about a person who's trying to escape something. Weird, I know, but
Interesting. No, interesting, not weird.
interesting.
Yes. All right. I love it. I love it. So, the theme that I decided for this month, and I like things to be in themes so that we're just not all over the place, even though anything can fit a theme, I've learned creating storyboards. So, September is Suicidal Prevention and Self-Care Awareness Month, a time to honor the emotional weight of transition, especially with students, families, and educators returning back to school. While the session brings excitement, it also stirs anxiety, self-doubt, and unresolved grief for many. That's why I wanted to do this theme for this particular one. Our monthly gatherings is going to be about remembering, release, and reclaiming. It's a safe space for us to share what we want, what we need. I do not censor people, so we won't be censoring anything here. Um, and I will open it with a poem that I wrote for one of my kiddos last year. And I still feel like it holds the truth to kids going back to school today. Actions. It's said that actions speak louder than words. My words often fall on deaf ears. I speak the truth, the things people don't want to hear. The hardest thing is facing the truth, knowing the truth, and understanding the truth. When others can't hear you, your only option is to show them through actions. Actions fall to blindness, seeing what one wants to see, feels interpreted to one's fears. It said that actions speak louder than words, but your actions have consequences that you have to be willing to face. Your actions may backfire, leaving you in the one place you didn't want to be. They say, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lie. It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. Can you handle the words, the actions of life as it travels in a path once traveled before? I asked my lost 16-year-old client, does actions speak louder than words? Do the words cut so deep and below the belt that you can't stand to hear them? Do your thoughts hurt so bad that you're just holding on by a string? I get it. I understand. I know you've heard those words before. Isolated in darkness, dismissed with the aversion of understanding and unheard. How do I know my value? My poetry, the raw truth. I want you to feel comfortable in the uncomfortable. I teach about emotions. My heart aches literally. I hear your emotional pain. I see the physical pain. I still live with social pain. Loneliness is real. Judgment is harsh. Disappointment is the stepping stones of self destruction. I feel what you feel in the adult world. My feelings no different than yours. My ability to process due to years of experience, the good, the bad, and the ugly. How do you turn it around? How do you feel safe? How do you take the next step? How do you trust when you feel so violated when best interests are not your interests? Understand emotions are situational. One thing does not always have to impact everything. All or nothing kind of self defense. How do you pick up the pieces, move forward after taking a few steps back? How do you let yourself off the hook? You were never meant to do this alone. Hi, my name is Tony. I'm here to support you. What that looks like depends on you. No, we will not always agree. Yes, I will make those hard choices. Sadly, you will despise and hate my actions. However, I will continue to stand by my truth. Survivor's instinct. What say you? Temporarily satisfied with the open line of communication until reality kicked in. Lost sobriety, sexual exploitations solidifies her desires for love and affection. Pushed the people away who brought her into their home wanting the best interest for her is slowly killing them. Last straw, DCF has stepped in. Lost soul refuses to reconnect. Her actions spoke louder than her words. I will take comments, thoughts, feedback, and opinions, or you can jump in and share a piece. Welcome, Miss K.
That was pretty powerful, Tony Rose, as usual.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna do this one. It's called "A Woman's Strength." Um, so as you know my story, Tony. So 15 years ago, my husband of 22 and a half years had a brain fart and left me um, a month after my dad died. Um, my life was a little crazy. But I found in that whole process that even though he was the one who cheated, he was like people just really love to blame women for, you know, the mishaps of relationships and such. And I was like, what? No. So anyway, so I wrote this poem. It's called A Woman's Strength. Do not try to make me feel guilty for my strength. How sad that my confidence intimidates you. I will not apologize. If a jockstrap was required to house my genitals, my confidence and strength would be admired. The lack of a bulging appendage brings scorn and ridicule when I express my desires and choose to be the aggressor. Why does society say I must let you take charge with your follicled face? You command with a harsh, loud voice. I, with a look and a gentle nod. The softness of my voice is not reflective of less passion. You may not be able to lift it. You may be able to lift a bar equivalent to your weight, but I can carry a life inside of me, then lift it proudly for a lifetime, no matter how heavy it becomes. You can overpower someone with the strength of your hands, but I can do it with strength of mind. Your pride will not let you cry. For you, tears are a sign of weakness. My tears are the fertilizer that strengthens my roots. I shed them with pride, knowing that with each one that falls, I become stronger. Do not look down on me for my weaknesses. The fact that I can admit they exist is in itself a sign of my strength, something you may never understand. I used to feel that I was not complete without the love of a man. I know now, I I know now that I only need to love myself to be whole. If I decide to let you into my life, it is not because I need you. It is because I have chosen to let you into my world, and I can choose to show you the way out. You are fearful of my control because you have been led to believe control belongs to you. Take note that control is truly in the hands of a higher power, whose lead I follow and whose foundation I stand on. My strength comes from faith, faith in myself, and faith in the one who believes in me and has never let me down or hurt me.
I love it. Remember, release, and reclaim. Strong woman. Any thoughts, feedbacks, comments?
Pardon me while I chew.
I wanted to say, I read that. I was going to read something else, but I read that one because, first of all, there's all women here. I found it interesting that they're all women. Um, and I mean, I've read that in front of plenty of men, but I thought, hey, this is girl power night, so I'm gonna go ahead and read something about woman power.
I feel it.
When you said, understand that it's not that I need you, it said something like, I know I'm paraphrasing, but that you've allowed this person into your life. And if they don't act accordingly, you could also show them the way out.
Yes,
You ever seen when security has to escort somebody from a building?
yes, that's exactly.
I love that because that is exactly what I pictured in my mind. If a man is going to be in your life and he doesn't act accordingly, you could show him the exit.
There you go. You're out.
And not nowadays, society does not like the idea of a woman not needing a man. When I tell men this, you have to be the kind of man she actually wants.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
If she can want you, if she wants you in her life, then you've got a seat at the then you've got a seat in her life. Forget the table.
Any other thoughts, opinions, comments?
So it reminded me, my dad growing up, he always taught us girls how to take care of ourselves because he said, I don't want you ever to have to depend on a man or in my case on another person. And I've always appreciated that, and I think Um, I saw that reflected in your poem, and the line that you referenced was one I wanted to was one I was going to talk about, because it's more of what I'm doing in my life now is reflecting on where I want to put my energy, and where it comes back to me, right? Because I'm somebody who has given a lot and has received very little in return. And so I'm focusing on places where that um, that giving is returned. So
Love it. Anybody else want to share a comment, thought, or opinion of either myself or Miss Rossi's poem, or do you have a piece to share?
For your poem, Tony, your poem describes, your poem reminds me of the safety that teenagers need in the beginning of the school year. Because as a student, for some reason, there's 3 vital months in the beginning of the school year. So, I'm sorry, there's 3 vital months throughout the school year: September, June, February, March. That halfway point of the school year, because a typical school year goes from September to June. So, if you start in September, how you start the school year sets the tone for the year. And then June, obviously, that's the ending. So, you're trying to do the best that you can as a student to finish strong. But a lot of things get lost right in the middle. And that's why I've always felt like I've always felt like February, March, between February and March, those are those vital points that if a student is not seen or heard or understood or even noticed, they can, you can lose them. And I believe that a lot of educators and paraprofessionals, sometimes it's kind of hard to, you have so many kids that you're in charge of. It could be hard to gauge that. But there's a lot of people who get lost right in the middle of the year, whether it's academically, whether it's socially and emotionally. There's a lot of kids in the middle of the year, especially if you're not one of those super smart kids, or if you're not one of those, like, kids with a lot of behaviors that need a lot of attention. When you fall somewhere in the middle, you are, you tend to be sandwiched between those two great populations, and you're kind of lost there.
I agree with that.
That's so funny that you say that, because I remember having a conversation with the principal at my kid's middle school. Um, I was very involved in PTO and all that stuff, and I remember the principal said to me, she said, I honestly, I don't even know I didn't know who your kids were until like you became so involved. Um, I wouldn't have ever known who they were because they don't get in trouble, and they're just kind of like they go through their day, and they're kind of almost invisible because they're not in any particular category. And I said, well, then that's you should learn from that, because you should know every child in your school, whether they're getting in trouble or they're the top athlete or they're it shouldn't, like, every student deserves to be recognized and noticed, especially those kids who are kind of just floating along. Like, you need to let them know that you're aware of their existence, period. Like, you should never let any child slip
Absolutely.
through the cracks.
I like that you brought that up. Um, I'm interested in physics, and the fact that at the very basic of our structure, we're particles, and the way particles interact is through recognition. Um, and so I wonder, if people become free radicals, like these, without their connections anymore, because they're no longer being observed, and also being observed in the ways that they do not see themselves. And so that observation is hard for them to be seen as. Um, so that's, yes, I like that you brought that up.
Alicia, do you have a poem that you want to share?
No, I don't today. Sorry.
That's okay. I came prepared. I actually did. The silent E is still enjoying her food, so we're not gonna harass you for a piece just yet.
I have a few things in mind. I just need to finish chewing first.
Exactly. So I'm gonna read this piece and then we'll come back to that. So this piece, it's funny, I'm working on my second book, and the second book is about compartmentalizing. And it is one of those coping skills that definitely helped me navigate life. And I got to thinking about high school, middle school, and girls, the
Mhm.
mean girls. So this poem is called Double Standards. To those mean girls that put the double in double standards. You would think I dislike women when it appears I take the side of men. That's not it. I am a Libra. I'm about balance. Men are classified as dogs when cheating. Women are classified as bitch when angry. What's the difference? At the end of the day, it's not about your breed, role, or status, individually or collectively. I first understood double standards when my dad hung out all night partying, drinking, playing cards, socializing, flirting, and fucking. Criticizing when my mother, the quiet queen of beauty and grace, stepped out with friends. Showing up, showing off, not in the name of man, husband, lover, protector, in the name of womanizer, full of jealous foolery. I learned about double standards watching my uncle preach church and God while highly intoxicated, slurring words, flirting with another woman in the presence of her husband. Somebody's children, no grace within his disgrace. I learned double standards from the father of my children. Don't do as I do, just do as I say. Wear this, not that. Side-eyed because they like what they see, them your friends. Why you chastising me? Yet women are showing up at your mother's house. Need I say more? I learned double standards from the girls of my generation. Middle schoolers, high schoolers hanging on to boyfriend while chasing another. Sacrifice if she succeeds. Unknowingly, he's the fallback if she doesn't. These are the women who are angry with themselves, who declare independence in the name of fuck you. I don't need you. These them women judging, spinning, plotting, planning, manipulating. Damn, they just throw gas on chivalry. But want chivalry in the name of gangster, daddy, that street brother, when that prince is standing by with a bucket full of sweet candy. Balancing in the center of double standards, edge of honesty, security, trusting self before placing trust in others. I've been that girl, that other woman. My place has nothing to do with you and yours. I am that woman that will make you roll your eyes, cut them, twist your head, suck them teeth, mumble under your motherfucking breath, then come up in my face wanting to be my friend, wanting to understand my gangster. It's always been take care of home first. No, I don't need you. My struggle is my own. Yes, I do appreciate the other things you do in the name of man, in the name of chivalry. Ladies, I'm sorry. He will never stop loving or comparing others to me. It's not about me, it's about how he felt with me, what he learned about himself. The grass is not always greener on the other side. The best relationships are those worked on. I learned double standards when the black sheep is the trustworthy one. I've learned double standards as I continue to grow, explore me in a world so full of double standards. Thoughts, feelings, and opinions?
That that was really good, Tony. I really just came to ear hustle tonight and just sit as a fly on the wall and see what's going on because I've just been in a crazy headspace. But yeah, I completely understood where you were coming from with that. There's so much of that do what I say, not what I tell you. Um,
Hmm.
you spoke.
Oh, look, she disappeared on us. She'll be back to finish that conversation. Um, that one poem, when I wrote it, it just really had me thinking about back to school, the kids, the school that I was working at. The girls are fighting more than the boys these days. And it's that insecurity, that bullying, and the teachers let pieces of it slide because of mental health. And that's a big, big problem for me. It's one of those, they're on an IEP, they're having these problems, they're having these troubles, and that makes them allowed to get away with it. There wasn't always the consequences. There were more excuses than anything else. And just because they was on the IEPs and some of them already in the behavioral school, there was still no talks of expulsions or suspensions. And one of the big things for me when you look at that is where is the parents' accountability as well?
Yeah, working in the school I work in, I work in a school full of autistic kids, and I have a love-hate relationship with ABA. Like, I get it. I get that, well, I'm not going to go into the whole ABA. My problem is that a lot of times people who are ABA oriented don't believe in consequences, and they act like having autism is a free ticket to act like a fool and do things that you're not supposed to do. These kids need to be held accountable. Just because they're autistic doesn't mean they don't know better. Period.
Mhm.
And I'm constantly in a push and pull with some of these BCBAs because they want us to coddle these kids and use soft voices and talk to them like they're little. No, damn it. If you're doing something you know is wrong and I know you know it's wrong, you're going to get my mother voice. You're not going to get Miss Pat that talks like this. You're going to get Miss Pat that says, "Why are you acting like you don't know what you're doing?" Like, come on, right?
Mhm.
And so, yes, there needs to be accountability. I don't care what your IEP says, I don't care what your diagnosis is. These kids are capable, they are some of the biggest manipulators and plotters that I
Oh,
know.
yes.
Okay. So we don't need to coddle them. We need to teach them because and some of these kids will go out into the real, they will go to college, they will do things outside of this little cocoon that we've built for them in this private
Hmm.
school and within their homes. And when they get out in the real world, people are not going to coddle them. And especially for our black and brown children, especially the boys, we need to teach them how to be safe. And
Yes.
coddling them is not teaching them how to be safe. Because these cops out there and other people out there who look at their color of their skin and automatically put them in a category, they're not going to care that they have autism. They're going to look at them and
Exactly.
see a black boy or a brown boy who's doing something perceived as not being okay, and they're going to do what they do. And it's
Yes.
not okay. We need to teach our kids, whether they have autism or not. Like, it's just, we need to do better.
Hmm.
End of
Alicia, you
rant.
disappeared on us.
Yeah, I had a call coming in and I was trying to disconnect the call and disconnected everything. I'm so sorry.
You know how that goes. But you were saying something, and we want to give you that opportunity to finish.
I was just talking about, a lot of times we talk about the double standard of seeing our fathers do things to our mothers that they expect for us not to tolerate from other men. But I've seen where my mom does the same thing too. Like she'll say, "I can't believe you're tolerating this," and I'm looking at her like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" That's what I've
Yes.
witnessed, all in the name of
Yes.
running 50 years. You know what I mean? And it's yeah, the double standards are crazy in so many different areas, or even me and my one of my daughters got into it recently because as it's hard sometimes to navigate with adult daughters, and I'm divorced and I'm dating again and I'm going through, and it's like as things are breaking up, as I'm going through breakups or I'm dealing with men doing what men do, I'm expected not to just walk away and not feel anything and not get upset or allow it to impact me. Um, but I'm supposed to be there for them when they're going through a breakup and having a mental breakdown. You get what I'm saying? So I'm
Right.
that double standard from so many different areas, like adult children, your mother, your father. Everybody's telling you how you should do how they would do things differently if they were in your shoes. Even like when I was going through my divorce, same situation. Well, you should tell the judge this and you should tell the judge that. Tell me what court you get to tell the judge what to do. You know what I mean? There's always a better
Exactly.
way, there's always a higher expectation, especially if you're, like you said, a child, like the girl was saying earlier, about if you're an older child who was forced to raise your siblings and always had to be the good student and the good kid, and there's this expectation that you're always supposed to be good. So when you do something wrong, it's like, or you fall short a little bit, it's like you're held to a different standard than other people. So your poem just really resonated with me on that level for that reason. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Silent E, you got some poetry for us?
Yeah, I can read us a little bit of something.
Oh, yes. So
So
Eden, Becca's gonna go before you.
say what? Did you?
No, go ahead, Becca. I was looking. Silent E is still. She's eating still.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Um, when people say my name, I usually have them do the SM is silent. So that's
oh,
why,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
why I thought it. Okay, cool.
Go ahead, shit.
All right. Well then, if somebody, because now that it says ready, my page is not up. So if somebody is ready, please take the stage, and I will wait my turn.
I
If
can.
not, go. Okay, please.
I have a little bit of a freestyle that I'd like to share.
Yes.
So, something that I worked upon the other day. And then after I finish it, I'll share why I, decided to do this poem.
Okay.
When your friend calls you for the umpteenth time to complain about the toxic relationship that she's in, and you tell her, why don't you just leave? And you're met with, girl, what do you know? You're single. Yes, yes, I am. And I am free to move about how I want. My head hits the pillow at night, not worrying about a man disrespecting me, gaslighting me, attempting to control me. I lay down and come and go as I please. Please do not use my singleness against me. You knew I was single before you called me. Did I not recall that your number popped up on my screen for you to interrupt my regularly scheduled program to listen to another episode of your relationship drama? How many times do I have to tell you to walk away? How many times do I have to remind you that if you were in the same position as him, he would not tolerate? Do you ever notice that women are expected to be the forgivers because he came to your door with flowers, tears in his eyes, snot running down his nose? Do you understand that I could buy my own flowers? Do you understand that for me, respect is better than some store-bought flowers and a box of candy? By the time the flowers dry up and die, so will your promises. But yes, remind me that I am single. Remind your friend who did not have to pick up your phone call or open the door or stop her life to wipe the tears that you've been crying for the past 2 years that, girl, that's why you're single. And here's a bonus for you. Do you really think that when she's ready to get into a relationship, she will be with a man that's similar to yours? Do you really think that when she and her boyfriend step out on the town, they want to double date with that toxic couple that breaks up and makes up every other week?
Mm.
As if singleness is a life sentence. Don't you know eventually your single girl will get a man of her own? Do you really think she will have time to entertain the drama that is every week, like a weekly episode? Don't you think she's going to change the channel eventually? It's only a matter of time before she gets a man of her own. And by the way, watching you is just a reminder of what she won't settle for when she gets into a relationship. But please remind her why she's single. When you tell her, girl, what do you know? You ain't got a man. But baby, neither do you. You have a boy that you've been babysitting who is trapped in a man's body, masquerading as an adult, who emotionally harms you over and over and over again because he knows you aren't going anywhere. But you know what? If your eyes are not opened, I cannot force your eyelids to pry open and see what's right in front of you. I pray that the light bulb goes off. And I pray that your deaf ears become unclogged. But until then, next time when he disrespects you, next time when he forces you to be emotionally in distress and causes your tears and your pain, remind yourself, but Eunice is single though. Remind yourself that I know nothing and I cannot help you because eventually, even I need to move on. Thank you.
Mm.
Wow.
I love that.
That line with the flowers and the promises. Can you
Mm.
say that line again?
Eventually, the flowers will dry up just like his promises.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Mm, mm, mm.
Also, there was the line about not what was the line about the man? Like, there's a boy.
You, oh, when I said, girl, you don't
Yeah,
have a man,
yeah,
but
you don't have a
neither do
man.
you. You have a boy masquerading in a man's body.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, that resonated with me right there.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The masking. All right, what was your reason behind this poem?
I wrote this poem for a number of reasons. Number one, I have always I've always had this deep-seated fear of commitment only because I grew up in a broken home. Broken and toxic, but not because my parents got divorced, but they're still together, but they live in a toxic marriage because of the stigma of divorce. And there's a lot of Caribbean people who, for some reason, Caribbeans would rather stay in a toxic marriage for decades at a time than to deal with the stigmatization of divorce because they care so much about what others think. What will people think?
Mhm.
And I always say people will think that you chose yourself, but that's not how they view it because they'd rather stay in a toxic marriage just for the sake of saying, I is married now, but you's miserable now. Your husband emptied out the bank account and left you high and dry, embarrassed in front of the teller. That's a different poem. Um, but I have always, when it came to me, I was always in and out of a relationship in 3 months. My longest relationship to date was about 4 months because I know when to get out. I used to wonder, like, is something wrong with me that I can't stay with anybody past the 4 month mark? But that feeling of this isn't right was just too much to ignore. But at the same time, I've watched friends and loved ones stay in toxic relationships for years, but yet, when you give them advice on what to do, when you tell them, hey, why don't you walk away? Why don't you break up? Like, it's pretty insulting when somebody says, oh, girl, you don't understand. You don't got a man.
Right.
Mhm.
But I don't have your problems, though. I don't have to go to bed at night crying into my pillow because he disrespected me again.
Right. You don't got a man, but you got your respect.
Right. I don't
Mm,
got a I don't got a boyfriend trying to play daddy because he thinks that he's in charge of how I move, and I'm a grown up.
right. Yeah.
Um, so while I do want to marry one day, um, I have never ever ever wanted to give up my autonomy just because I am married, and that's one of the things I don't want as a woman is to lose myself in a relationship.
That's what's happened to me in all of my relationships is I've lost me entirely.
Right? Like I fought so hard, and I'm still fighting to be. When I say that I don't fit in anybody's box, I am in a constant fight to. It's like I have to be myself, and I feel like if I were with a man who tries to take that away from me, I'm out. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what I said at the altar. But people are always
Understood.
like, people are always like, well, you have a fear of commitment. Maybe I do. It's not the commitment part. It's the it's the loss of identity part.
Hmm.
We'll
So
see
yeah,
if that
but
comes with next month's topic.
huh?
So that will come with next month's topic.
I like that.
We can't hear you, Pat. Even though you're not on mute, we still can't hear you.
Hmm.
Nope.
Are you ready? Are you ready for me to read mine, Tony?
Yes, Becker, we are ready for you to read yours while Pat figures out why her thing's not working.
All right. And it's a short one, and you might have heard this before. I was going to read something different, but um, this one is more on point to what we're talking about tonight. Uh, and it's called Accessory to Love's Death. I wake these days into a world of my own making. A lonelier life now, yes, without another's filter to pour this love into, but I much prefer this to the shower of sand that others have drained back into my hands. A neglected wanderer in the expanding desert where I pitched this tent, never feeling enough without a camel's nose inches from nakedness. Yet I am the final intercessor who will save my sorrowful self, blowing back the heat as a refiner's fire, revitalizing the lost love of me from the embers of vanished truth. I will always be stronger anchored in myself than tethered to the reach of a rescuer's reel. And forever now, I will wear this love as a skin and no longer as an accessory taken off at another's whim.
I like that.
Hmm,
My
thanks.
love is not an accessory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you notice when I write, I do a lot of play on words. Um, Punnery is something that I grew up crafting. Um, and so the idea of, accessory to murder, accessory to the actual death of my own love, right? And what part do I
Mm,
play in that, and how do I reclaim it? That was
yes,
the back the backing of that poem. So yeah,
I like remember, release, and reclaim.
yeah.
And
I
that's what
mean,
we do every day.
because I know in my relationships, wanting somebody to rescue me is my downfall, and so reminding myself that I, the physician, I, the intercessor, um, it matters. And that's how I reclaim my strength is by not having somebody try and rescue me. Um, but bring myself up from the flood. So
Absolutely. Thoughts, opinions, comments, peoples? So I'm just going to share my screen briefly just so that people know where they can donate because to do this costs money sometimes.
mhm.
No obligations, no requirements. We're just going to share that while we're still recording. Um, what y'all think about this month's session?
Wonderful. Thank you.
You are very welcome. We will be doing this again, October 12th on a Sunday from 1 to 3. I'm not sure 100% what the theme will be, but domestic violence will be a part of it because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I believe it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I'm not sure what else, but I will absolutely be sending something out for us to look at. What topics we're going to do, what we're going to conversate about that, and being able to have our voice and speak our truth. Miss Kayla, Miss Kaya, anything you guys would like to share with us?
No, I was just being a silent listener tonight just to better understand how to prepare myself for next time. Plus, I was running super late, so I missed the first like almost 45 minutes.
It was okay. We was killing time. We was doing an icebreaker. So you miss, but you get what you need to get. And Kay done disappeared. She's feeding the kids. That was my kid. So I knew who that was that popped on. I just heard her telling the kids to come get their plate. So she dipped out on us so that I couldn't put her on the spot. But next time.
Can you hear me now, Tony Rose?
I can hear you now.
There you go. I don't know what the heck happened.
I don't know, but we got 5 minutes for some love.
Well, I was when you couldn't hear me, what I was saying was that I didn't realize how much of myself I had put to the side until he left. Like
Hmm.
I didn't even know. Like, and it was then I kind of reclaimed myself because you know I had to. I had no choice. I needed to do that to survive. Um,
Yes.
but it's kind of funny that you don't real it's kind of like you don't know what you got till it's gone, right? But you
Hmm.
also don't know what's gone till you got. Like, does that make sense?
Yes. Bye, Decker. We enjoyed having you.
Bye. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
It was another powerful night, Tony Rose.
It is. I love it. Small, intimate is just as great as the big and wild out. And we need this. We really do.
Hmm.
Eunice asked for it, and I told her I was going to give it to her. I keep my promises. So we do have our schedule for the rest of this year, and then I'll work on next year's. It may just be on Mondays, or if the alternating Monday, Sunday works beautifully, we'll keep doing that. But I appreciate you guys showing up, and we're going to keep doing this.
All right, sounds
Of
good.
course, nice meeting you all. Looking forward
Nice
to the next
meeting you,
one.
ladies.
Yes.
Have a good night.